Hello everybody, I am MTG and this is Chaos and welcome to Light the Fuse Wrestling Podcast. We are going to be doing the Monday Night Raw review for June 1st. How are you doing today, man?
Been pretty good, woke up.
Well, tell us about what you've been doing, like how was your weekend, what all you did?
Went up there to West Virginia.
West Virginia, what happened up in West Virginia?
Stayed in a cabin for about a night because it really wasn't that good. They didn't really supply the pillows, the blankets.
Okay.
It was basically just bunk beds in a room.
And how long it took y'all to get from this location to that location?
Well, it took us 13 hours to get to Indiana so we can pick up my brother.
Okay.
And then we shot from there after staying in a hotel all the way to West Virginia, which took 6 hours. So you're looking at about a 19-hour drive in total.
Correct. And how long did you stay up in West Virginia?
A day.
Just a day? All right.
It was that. It's very beautiful, very many scenic stuff you can look at. They have like little spots everywhere where you can go, you can take pictures and stuff on the side of the road, you know.
Correct.
But with it being such high altitude, you know, it's not, oxygen isn't as...
A different climate from southwest Louisiana.
Oh yeah, very, very different.
I would.
But
and the food, how was the food?
Since I'm used to that real southern Cajun Louisiana food, to me it was a little different.
I would understand
now, some places were okay. They weren't, you know, in my opinion, as good as Louisiana food would be.
Understandable.
But I mean, you know, it's edible.
It got the job done, right?
It did get the job done.
Not bashing anybody on the food category.
Yeah.
I mean, every food is good. It's just we know how to season things. It's just you know,
we season it differently since we're from Louisiana.
It's a whole different food group, in my opinion, and I think he would agree on that too.
Oh yeah, it's a different.
All right, enough about the Cajun Creole stuff. Let's get to Monday Night Raw. On the road to Backlash, Seth Rollins found himself at the center of two major segments on this episode of Raw. The Monday Night Messiah squared off with Aleister Black in a match that was weeks in the making and hosted a mockery of a retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio. Because prior to this, Seth Rollins drove Rey Mysterio's eye into the corner of the steel post, injuring it, and he gave this kind of look where his eyes went like that. It was very weird, very weird. Not making fun of nobody, but man, that was just one weird face.
Especially to see on a WWE superstar.
Oh, yes, and see, this is a pun. This is, by all means, a pun. Like, as soon as he found out that Becky Lynch was pregnant, he had this new change in attitude of this Monday Night Messiah gimmick, and this is completely a joke. This does not revolve anything around the Becky Lynch being pregnant, because that is real life. This is completely joking storyline wise.
Yes.
But
how do you think this, with her being pregnant, how do you think this is going to affect her career?
Well, see, she had to give up the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka won Money in the Bank the night prior to that, and then the next night on Raw she revealed that she is pregnant and she has to give up the belt, and that last night's match was not for the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was actually for the Raw Women's title. Alright, back to Mysterio. He wasn't able to defeat the aerodramatic anti-hero of Raw, a bid adieu to the Master of the 619. Elsewhere on the show, Apollo Crews also defended the United States belt for the first time, while the Raw Women's Champion Asuka squared off in a champion versus champion bout against Charlotte Flair, your NXT Women's Champion, in a non-title match.
Yes.
A person who ended victorious out of these matches we're going to get into later on. But to start off the Raw review, Seth Rollins, he kicked off for Raw. The Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, graced the WWE faithful with his presence to kick off Raw, surrounded by NXT and Performance Center alumni of some sorts with the plexiglass around the barricades, because the WWE likes to copy AEW but do it completely different.
Yeah.
You know? But we was ready to wave goodbye to the career of Rey Mysterio just 3 weeks after the brutality assault to the future Hall of Famer. He claimed that the Master of the 619 would likely not be able to bring himself to call it quits, as he was here to do it for him. So Seth Rollins, basically what he did, he came out, he was saying, he showed a video package of Rey Mysterio's career and everything of what he did. And then it just ended with him hitting the ground, Seth Rollins injuring him and annoying him to the point where He drove his face into the steel steps, making it blood and bleed to profusely extent, you know? And he came out here and he was, quote-unquote, doing his own retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio, whether Rey Mysterio was going to quit or not. After a sarcastic video package, Rollins said that he would gladly induct Rey Mysterio into the Hall of Fame when his time comes, which is a very heel and snarky tactic by Seth Rollins. I mean, the person that ended your career, you know, real life, jabbing your eye into his steel steps would be the one to induct you to the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that? Like,
I think that's kind of
a very asshole thing to do, huh?
Very much, yes. It's like
how
it's like whenever, like, for instance, since we're on a wrestling topic, it's basically like you injuring somebody just so you can get them out of the way. That way you have a better chance to move up.
See, that is premeditated, but we're going to get to something injured because Kairi Sane got injured during this week's Monday edition of Raw, but they edited it out, but we're going to get to that later. I understand where you're feeling at. You know, Aleister Black's music played and the former NXT champion hit the ring, clearing the Monday Night Messiah out of it, standing tall going into the first commercial break. Now, what do you grade the first portion of Raw when Seth Rollins came out and did this promo of sorts, you know?
I'll give it about a B plus, somewhere around that.
I'm giving it a C. I'm giving it a C plus because
it
was a good promo. Yes, was it over the top? Absolutely. But this is the best Seth Rollins has been in WWE to this date. Like, he is.
Yes.
He's good as a babyface. Don't get me wrong. Great babyface. But this heel turn he had, he is this. I'm gonna say it. He's this cult leader. He is a cult leader that is. But they're not gonna label him as a cult leader, even though he has disciples joining him in this cult. And that is getting with ergo Buddy Murphy, ergo the Authors of Pain, who was formerly in there, and the newly formed 22-year-old Austin Theory.
Yes.
Okay? He is insufficient, a false prophet, so full of himself that you cannot wait for a babyface to shut him up. I mean, I agree on this.
So, if you were in the position of Rey Mysterio...
retaliation, at best.
You would retaliate?
Oh, yes. I mean... In my opinion, I would retaliate as soon as my eye would heal up. I would be there, you know?
Yeah. But with this eye injury...
What can we expect from Mysterio? What can we see, you know?
There's not much he can do with this injury because it's basically like someone punching you in the throat. You know, if someone hits you in the throat, it's going to be hard to talk right after.
I agree, but they're going to get a knee immediately after because I don't play with that, you know? Alright, the first match on tap, where we come back from commercial break, it's Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins. Rollins and Black square off for the first match of the night after the break. A quick start by Black by nearly a well-timed distraction from Murphy and Theory, as well as Rollins' ability to capitalize, just as it appeared that the numbers game would be proved so low for Aleister Black. Humberto Carrillo rushed to the ring with a steel chair, and then they went to commercial break. Back from the break, Rollins continued to work over Black, delivering a sling blade for a 2 count. This would go on and on until finally Seth Rollins would do the exact same thing to Humberto Carrillo, what he did to Rey Mysterio, pressing his face up against that steel steps, urging Black to put the chair down or he will blind him. And I quote, "I will blind the son of a bitch." What do you feel about that, Matt? I mean, I grade the match first. I would give it a C minus, to be honest, actually. Black did defeat Rollins, but I give it a C, okay? What do you give this as?
My opinion on it was...
But your grade first. Like, we need your grade.
Grade, I would give it, you know, a flat-out C minus.
C minus?
Because of the fact that Seth Rollins is using the steps as an advantage to himself.
This could lead to possibly a WWE Championship match, because he's tried with Drew McIntyre at Money in the Bank, but it failed so miserably. It didn't work out, you know.
It backfired.
I mean, he lost fair and square. I mean, he even shook his hand.
Yep.
Next match is the United States Championship match. Apollo Crews came out with Kayla Braxton, expressed his gratitude for winning the United States Championship last week from Andrade, and said he was a fighting champion, and said he was going to have an open challenge to anybody that came out. Now, who answered that competition?
The one and only Kevin Owens.
Oh, dude, it was great. It was great. Yeah. Kevin Owens came out. He said, it's a shame. Your first title match is going to be your last. And, they started fighting. Everything did good. Owens scored a quick near fall before the match came to a standstill. Upon a tease low blow, Cruz revealed that he was framed, and a fist fight ensued. The competitor spilled to the floor, heading into a commercial break. Then, once they came back from the commercial break, Cruz scored a near fall, and the prize fighter scored with a 2 count of his own. As the challengers tried for a senton, the champion raised his knees, giving Apollo Crews the good advantage. Kevin Owens doing that one senton when Apollo picking up his knees. Could you see them? They going, and just one terrible spill,
Now, before the match could continue on that, who? Two.
It was Garza and Andrade who rushed to the ring. Andrade double disqualification, which it pissed me off. Okay, I'm giving that a D-.
Yeah.
Because I hate championship matches that end in disqualification. I hate it. Because if we're gonna have a championship match, I want a clear deciding winner, pinfall submission.
Now, he doesn't only get one disqualification.
No, yeah, it's a double disqualification.
It's a double disqualification.
It's a draw. So it wasn't. They don't really have a winner. So there's the championship advantage. The title cannot change hands under disqualification.
Exactly.
This was too short to really have leaving a lasting impact. With the interference that will probably lead to a tag team match next week, and then another tag team match the next week, and then another tag team match the next week. Because you know how WWE does that.
Oh yeah. Either way, they're still gonna face them up together until they have that decided champion.
Oh yeah.
If it's either going to go to one person or if it's going to stay in the hands of that person.
Well, Apollo Crews is going to keep it because of the championship advantage. But with that said, it is understandable WWE Creative would want a spare both Crews and Owens from details. But if they knew what is going on, why even book it in the first place? Just hear me out. All it does is bait the audience in before switching to another. But
that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Then it keeps you.
Yes, it keeps you
more
wanting
focused.
more.
It keeps you. It makes you want to find out who's going to obtain that title next, or who is going to, rather he's going to keep it or not.
Correct.
Now, we have
another match. We go back to commercial, and we didn't even have to wait next week. They did it right now. We have Owens and Crews versus Andrade and Angel Garza. After the break, Garza and Andrade battled Crews and Owens in a tag team match. The heels dominated the action, first isolating Crews before teeing off on the previously injured knee of KO. As the action broke down late, Garza clipped the knee from underneath Owens, leaving him in a heap at ringside. Back in the ring, Crews shook off the beating he had taken moments earlier and delivered a powerbomb for the victory. This match was too short, way too short, and it disjointed to earn a higher grade. I am giving it a F. This is an F. I don't like it. I'm giving very shitty reviews, but I'm giving it an F. What are you rating
now? Explain why you gave it an F.
It is too short and disjointed. That's why it's not getting a higher grade.
What they forgot to do is they forgot to build that up.
There was no real story to it. Or an opportunity for heels to gain no momentum. I feel as though Garza and them should have won. Get the heel momentum, the building up. Considering Andrade is Crews' most logical contender for Backlash, what is the benefit of having them lose this fall here? You're supposed to protect Garza, who is still riding high after his win over Owens.
Now,
why would you even book this thing? Why?
They may later get their redemption.
Yes, I agree on that.
But after that, we had a little bit of bowling, didn't we?
Oh my god, dude. We had the Street Profits against the Bike Raiders. Anything you can do, they can do better. That's why for the past few weeks we've been seeing archery, we've been seeing
axe throws,
and we're getting bowling. After basketball, axe throwing, golf, the Street Profits and Viking Raiders continue their battle for competitive supremacy with a game of bowling. The Raiders dominated the competition, effortlessly scoring strikes, while the Profits struggled to avoid the gutter. Ivar could not resist the urge to go get some turkey legs in the back fridge, though. And as soon as they closed the door, that lady was standing there like this. She was like, out. They nearly got kicked out. With a score of 100-21, the Raiders seemingly had the victory in hand. Then the tag team champions raised their cups, demanded the smoke, and stated a whooping on the competition. The Raiders narrowly avoided defeat, picking it up 230-231, I believe. It was just 1 point.
Yeah.
which made it 2-2 in the competition. This, I enjoyed this because this was hilarious. This built on both their characters. I'm giving it a B+. I enjoyed every bit of that.
Because I like bowling so much, and that's basically one of my personal things that I always grew up around was bowling.
Yes.
So I would give this about a B+ or solid A-.
And it was perfectly choreographed in my opinion, you know. But is this something you're gonna want to show your friends when defending pro wrestling? No. But it's fun and inoffensive television. You know, it's taking.
It adds a little twist.
Oh no, it adds the comedy. It took a lot of comedy in there, you know.
Yeah.
And that was taking things out of the ring and changing things up. You know, I agree on this.
Yeah. It's something new to be able to show your viewers.
It prevented the audience from having to watch the same matches over and over and over. This brought variety, in my opinion. It really did. When the Street Profits finally defend against the Viking Raiders, this will be a fresh match. But see, it had longevity built. It had storyline built, and in a good way. You know, it really built around this storyline.
Yes.
Next, we're going to the women's. We had Crazy Nikki Cross against Iconic
Billie Kay.
And, you know, this one was alright. The Iconics' journey back to the WWE Women's Tag Team titles continued this week as Billie Kay battled one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Nikki Cross in a singles match, while Peyton Royce and Alexa Bliss watched from ringside.
Now, whenever you have your ringside,
that's your managers, you know.
There are many of possibilities
that can happen.
Can happen. But since they stated that it wasn't a non-disqualification, it was
just a regular match. But this could lead to them possibly getting a women's tag team championship match. You know, Kay delivered a massive big boot, referred to as the Shades of Kay by Tom Phillips. You know, that flattered Cross and earned her a 2 count. You know. Dismayed by the near fall, the Australian continued her attack on one half of the tag team champions. A quick roll-up by Cross could not turn the tide as Kay remained in control. Despite a comeback from the champion, Kay scored the win, beating one half of the tag team champions.
So, what would you grade this?
I'm giving this a C, a solid C, because it was fine for what it was. Kay got a showcase for some of her skills as a singles competitor. Something else was not really, you know, it was alright for a singles match, but I feel as though we're going to get Peyton Royce versus Alexa Bliss next week, and then possibly Nikki versus Peyton and Alexa versus Billie.
But this is also something she hasn't had since NXT.
I agree on this, but see, it just... I personally, I'm not into this storyline, but then again, the Iconics give me more brain damage than when I watch Blue's Clues to this day. I mean, not bashing them at all. This is just my opinion of their character, you know?
Yes.
Next, we got the update on Rey Mysterio live via satellite from his home.
So, Rey Mysterio and his son, Dominic, joined us for an update on the veteran's health following his assault at the hands of Seth Rollins.
The typically soft-spoken Mysterio damned the Monday Night Messiah for what he did to him and his family. The frustrated veteran then walked off, left Dominic issuing a warning, and I quote,
Seth Rollins, you're a man of scripture. An eye for an eye.
And for Dominic not to have much promo work, boy, he's got potential. Dominic has potential to be, if not a great superstar.
Well, look who his father is.
Yes, but see,
his father is Rey Mysterio.
Yes, but his taller than him son is proving that you don't just mess with Rey Mysterio.
You mess with the son. You mess with the family.
You messed with his family. That's why this is getting an A+. This was spot on, some of the best thing I've seen. This was about as fired up as you're going to get Rey Mysterio on a WWE program, because he's family friendly, but he's pissed.
Oh, yes.
With that said, you know, the foreshadowing of Dominic threatening retaliation for his father's suffering was real meat of this brief segment. We all know that this one angle could lead to probably a match with Dominic with the second generation superstar, you know? Could we see Dominic make his WWE debut against Seth Rollins, or even Murphy or Austin Theory? Could we see Dominic in a WWE ring as soon as SummerSlam?
Oh yes, because of the fact that Rey Mysterio has been wrestling in the WWE so long, he can easily pass down his talent to his son.
Well, see, have you seen Survivor Series? Dominic was able to do a beautiful frog splash, a decent 619, and he took a chair shot like a champ.
Oh, yeah.
And an F5. He's taken numerous F5s. One, I cannot make this up. I will never forget this. Dominic is laying on the trainer's bed with the doctor looking at him. Brock Lesnar goes in there, F5s Rey Mysterio against the wall, then F5s Cain Velasquez onto Dominic. I find that like, what the hell, man?
All right, and if you can take that...
Oh, what? And he's, for 22 years old, that's not bad.
Oh, no.
I'm assuming 22,
Yeah,
roughly. Next, we got another women's match. We got Kairi Sane versus Nia Jax. Now, this is the match where it gets bad, After a brief promo in which Nia Jax played the woe is me heel, Tom Phillips threw footage of R-Truth defeating Rob Gronkowski. This was funny, man. Rob Gronkowski went outside in his front yard. R-Truth was a gardener, dressed up as a gardener. He had his friend videotaping him and stuff. And he was filming some sort of video because, it's Gronk. He's got to film something. He's a party animal.
Yeah.
All right, he turned around. R-Truth was sneaking up behind him. He turned around. R-Truth went back to gardening. All right. So, and then he turned around again, looking at the gardener. His best friend took off his middle shirt. He's got a referee shirt underneath. Oh, and he turns around. He's like, huh? R-Truth comes up, scoops him. 1, 2, 3. R-Truth is the new 24/7 champion. And then later on, Rob Gronkowski would be released from WWE.
No,
but it's because he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
But he's a good football player. Let him go back to football. We don't need Rob.
Yeah.
Now back to the ring, where we had a fired up Sane was unabashed in her desire for revenge as she took a fight to Jax, uncorking a running elbow in the corner and leaving her reeling. The Pirate Princess appeared to be en route to a massive upset. Jax, though, recovered and dropped her rival right on the apron. She slammed her face first into the hardest part of the ring before throwing her unprotected face first into the steel steps. Moments later, she would get the leg drop for the pinfall victory. But what happened... Because, see, this was a taped episode of Raw, okay? What happened when she got slammed to there? She has a big gash right here. She started bleeding profusely. And they cleaned that up, but they edited that out of Raw.
Yeah.
And they panned to the audience a little bit. The audience. And, she laid Kairi Sane for the heap, I gave this a C because they should have stopped the match right then and there. They did stop the match when it was live, but when it was taped, they when she got all the blood and stuff up, they put her back in the ring.
Now, have you heard of what Vince McMahon had told Nia Jax?
No, could you please inform me of it?
Since Nia Jax has been wrestling recklessly,
yes, well,
she is going back
to NXT.
No, she's going back to training.
Oh well, I hope so. I mean, with everything going on right now, what she needs to do. They need to give her a leave and let her go do at the performance center. Do what you got to do.
That's what they're
doing.
Get
better. That's what I hope, man. Because
that is exactly what they're doing. And after she comes back, if she's still injuring people, as much as she's been doing recklessly, she will not longer be in the WWE. I mean, in my opinion,
I would find her unsafe, But but then again, you're in the world of sports entertainment. You're gonna get hurt,
Yes.
Now, as for the quote-unquote greatest wrestling match ever, with Edge approaches, Randy Orton cuts a promo in which he admitted to half-assing it at times in his career, and that infuriates Edge. The fact that Randy Orton could be at the top of his game and yet quote-unquote half-ass his way through his career.
Now, why do you think?
Because the Rated Heart Superstar had to scratch and claw to get everything he wanted just to get by with it at 50%, and he was still better than everyone. Orton predictably vowed to win at Backlash. From there, we went to the Charlotte Flair entered to cut a promo demanding respect from the NXT stars that was in the audience, because Charlotte Flair is the NXT champion. The audience is NXT superstars. Because, due to COVID-19, you can't have actual fans in there right now, And she was demanding respect from the NXT stars in the audience. Of course, the NXT stars are going to boo for her, She addressed her match with Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley Sunday at NXT TakeOver in Your House before Asuka entered for their champion versus champion match,
So, now, with this match,
the Asuka or the triple threat at TakeOver.
Champion versus champion.
Oh, yeah, this. But, see, I've seen this match at WrestleMania. I've seen this match on a Raw, and we're going to see it again, I've seen this match.
How do you think this one's going to turn out?
I think Asuka's going to whip ass. I really do. You know,
honestly think so.
after some trash talking, the Queen targeted her opponent, knee heading into the break. You know, during the timeout, she pounded at Asuka, looking to beat the will out of the Empress of Tomorrow, and a quote-unquote "I will beat you every time," Charlotte exclaimed as she continued to dominate, you know. And
now Asuka did fight back.
Oh yes, and she delivered a German suplex and a Shining Wizard for a near fall, you know.
Yeah.
But as Asuka built momentum for herself, Nia Jax entered the arena wearing Asuka's face paint. It kind of, you know, threw her off, and Jax stood tall as the champion withdrew in pain, you know. Flair was awarded the match via countout because Asuka, you know, she wanted Nia Jax, you know.
Yeah.
Flair defeated Asuka via countout, and I will give this a B, a solid B. What would you give this?
I'd probably give it a B minus.
The only thing that didn't make me go from a B plus to an A minus was the finish, you know.
Now, the only thing keeping this from a grade A was the finish.
Yes, I agree. The finish was just, you know, Asuka and Flair was having a banger of a match, you know, reversals, submissions, near falls, just everything was there, you know.
Yes.
Just to have it end ugly with a countout, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like this at all, you know. I really, really didn't like it. Now the main event of Raw. We had Drew McIntyre versus MVP. Alright, you know, Bobby Lashley joined MVP in the squared circle for the later match with WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, but the Almighty was taken aback when wife Lana made her presence felt at ringside.
McIntyre rocked MVP with a glass glow kiss by the Honorary, distracting by Lashley allowed MVP to share the WWE Championship into the ring post.
And in the ring, he delivered a big boot in the corner, and he can only keep his opponent down for a count of 2. The Scottish psychopath recovered with a big boot and a flying clothesline, you know. And back in the ring, McIntyre delivered a Claymore kick for the win. Immediately after the match, though, Lashley applied a full Nelson, you know, right there to Drew McIntyre, and you know they faded to black because you know you got a 10 o'clock. You got to get off.
Yeah. Now Drew McIntyre did defeat MVP
very cleanly though.
Oh yes.
But
now,
see, ever since MVP came back to WWE, he's been putting talent over, which I do like that. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I'm all for that.
An old veteran putting someone over.
Yes, and the important takeaway from this whole thing was Lashley getting over on McIntyre and leaving him lying to close out the show. They missed that. They should have had him lying on the ground. That would have built so much more. It would have, but see, they left him with. It's just like the Monday before WrestleMania 31, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns holding the championship before they go off the air. That's not how you end a show. You don't end it on a cliffhanger. You got to end it with someone dominating. And it was unfortunate because Lashley had built so much momentum for himself through the series of strong wins for a dominant force, just for it wasted on a questionable booking decision.
Now, what do you give this one?
Oh God, I give it a C. I give it a C because it was a good match, but it was just he put him over. I mean, it was just for Drew McIntyre to go over because as WWE champion. You know, it was all right, but MVP can't go for a long period of time as well. I agree on that. You know,
but I mean, you know what they say: you're never as good as you used to be once you get older.
Correct. Now, Raw in general, grade Raw in general, the whole show.
I'll give it a solid B. Flat out B.
Flat B. Why? Why a B?
Because it left off with a cliffhanger.
I agree.
You know, in a sense, you know?
Yeah. But
so with that,
it dropped it down.
It dropped it down because, you know, it didn't finish how it was meant to be.
I thought it would be, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a B+. The reason why is for the Monday Night Messiah's promo, which I still don't like the Monday Night Messiah, but it was a good promo.
Yes.
And Rey Mysterio's health update with Dominic, an eye for an eye. I just found that just to be to be great.
That right there is one thing that is super shocking because you don't expect that.
Oh no!
Nobody. I don't think anybody expected him to come out with that.
No, I expected them to both walk off camera, and Dominic looked dead in the camera, talking to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins. Read scripture, an eye for an eye. I thought that was just like, wow.
That right there put me on the edge of my seat.
Yes, I like that.
So
now, it was good. Don't get me wrong. You know, Raw was great. I enjoyed it, and I found it was very You know, it was great. I give it a B+. I love it. Hopefully we need something, you know, with this current pandemic Raw going, this is probably one of the best ones since the pandemic. I will agree on
yes.
that. Even though the fans are so generic, they're just, yay, boo, this is awesome. You know, it's not genuine fans. They're wrestlers, but they're running on WWE's protocol, meaning they can't say bullshit. They can't make outbursts, you know?
Yeah, but with the actual fans,
it does create a little bit better experience. But see, AEW has done that a lot better.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they got wrestlers' families in the bleacher section. They got the wrestlers at ringside, and I find that awesome because it gives you, and they're in the amphitheater, so it gets an echo feeling. You know, I like it.
Yeah.
So this has been the Light the Fuse Wrestling Podcast. I am MTG.
I am Chaos.
And I hope to see you next time. You can follow me on Instagram at this_is_MTG. And you can like this on Facebook at facebook.com/LTF Wrestling. And I hope to see y'all again. Again, we will be doing this on NXT for Wednesday, and I hope to see y'all next time. Alright, see y'all.